Hi everyone. On Bib's Purpose Talk today, I'm rounding up the Drop Days Before the New Year series with this particular episode. And not because there are no other weights, but the five weights that we have identified are quite broad and they cover a lot more other weights. So we have tied in a more comprehensive um, weights with the five. And today's weight is the cocoa of the curriculum of weights. And yes, I know some of you already know or you have idea. And today's weight is titled Spiritual Neglect. Yeah, spiritual neglect. When your inner man is running on empty, you can be productive, you can be visible, you can be busy, yet spiritually depleted. This is when you must wake up. That weight is not meant to just slow you down. And spiritual neglect is silent, but its effects are very loud. You would always know you are having spiritual fatigue and neglect when you're always tired. You are not as active as you should. You don't show up. You lack discernment. You're always, calculating and giving mundane, natural, street answers for things that require deep solutions. Like Daniel, it was recorded that he had solutions to puzzles. He was able to discern and decode the things that were deep because he had spiritual alertness and he was spiritually active. It's the same thing, even if work is what is keeping you back, you would become less efficient if you're given to this weight. And it is so vital that you need to be as active and as alert as you should when you see the realities of what you're actually dealing with or contending against. It's like fire, a wood fire. When somebody wants to set up a wood fire, there are some basic things you need to do. And that is how your spiritual life needs to be activated. You have to be intentional. You need to gather the wood. Gather the things that help you to stay alive. Secondly, find out what ignites you. When you gather the firewood, you need to set it on fire, set it ablaze. Find the things that ignites your wood and set it ablaze. Another thing you should do is to be alert. It is the nature of fire to fade or wane. But if you are alert, like the metaphorical firewood I'm referring to, you would know when a particular wood in the stock is beginning to be diminished. It's becoming a stub, it's reducing. When you are alert and you are paying attention, you would begin to push it back in, and get them together. And that's where even a good relationship would help you. Iron sharpening iron. And so that wood that is reducing its intensity, you put it closer to the ones that are really alive and ablaze, right? So find out who are those things or who are those people. Find out who are those people, what are those things that you can do to keep the fire ablaze. And also make sacrifices. You need to be able to fan the flame. There are things you can do yourself. Even when you ignite a fire and you see it's going down, you put efforts. Show up. Quit the excuse. And One critical thing you need to deal with this is also to get knowledge. And when you get this knowledge, what to do with it. In this Daniel's scenario, it was recorded that he said, they that observe lying vanities forsake their mercies, but they that know their God shall be strong and do exploits. So get knowledge. You cannot know God and know him as he is and the way you should know him and refuse to align with him and be at peace with him. And so they that know their God. So knowledge, get knowledge. It shows your knowledge is either low or you need to refresh your knowledge about God when you are beginning to experience neglect. So it says, they that know their God shall be what? Strong. And so that knowledge will bring strength to you. The Bible says in Isaiah 32, it says, wisdom and knowledge have been the stability of your times and the strength of your salvation. Not only would you be strong, he said they would be strong and do exploits. And so that means if you really know God, you would do something. You would do. And so you would do exploits. And so if you find out you are lethargic, you are going through some kind of apathy when spiritual things are concerned, do these things. Separate time to imbue yourself with the knowledge of God. Get into the Word. Face the Word. Use it as the mirror to adjust your image and begin to commit to it. With that, strength will come to you. And with that, you would be able to do. You won't be the ones giving excuses of being unavailable, of being preoccupied, because when you know Him, you want to do and do for Him as a priority. And so, this is the cocoa of the curriculum, like I said. It is a foundation. It is the pillar. It is what sustains every other thing. And when we have this in place, like I said, fire can go out. But when it is waning, is fading, you must be intentional because you already know better that this fire needs to be tended. It needs to be tended. That's what the Bible says. The things you have learned, keep them in remembrance so they don't sleep. And God needs us to be firebrands. It said in Joshua, it said, is this not a brand plucked from the fire? If you're neither hot nor cold, you know what that means. And nobody in this new year would want to be away from God. It wouldn't spew you out. You would be an instrument, a weapon, a battle axe in his hand. And on that note of the spiritual neglect weights, I wrap it up here. Like I said, this is the cocoa. This is the wrap for it. And whatever weights that we've all, had to deal with, just know that when you seek God's face, it will grant you solutions. And knowing, like I said, you need to separate time. You won't just be knowing in the air or still being busy. You need to cut certain times off. Sometimes you're on leave. It's not just the leave for fun. You must apportion out of that leave. Like, okay, out of 20 days, 5 or 10 is going to be towards my fellowship, my devotion, my refiring in God, and to reimburse. Because while I was working, it wasn't only my physical pleasure or in my pleasure or anything or relationship that were being affected or underserved, even my spiritual life. And so you want to apportion time to that also. And so with all of that, and as you set on your mark for this new year, I trust it's going to be a year of great testimonies and of acceleration. It's been my pleasure serving this and sharing this. Like I said, I have committed to growth and a growing community through Babe's Purpose Hub, and do well to search my website, check my books, put on your notifications, subscribe, and remain as firebrand as you can. Until I come your way again, bye for now and be free of heavy weights.